Mit einem Omni, so wie ich das sehe. Todd, ich habe keine Ahnung, wer das ist, aber hier geht es wohl um alles Mögliche, aber auch um Veganismus. Ich bin sehr gespannt. Ich habe voll Bock, mich zurückzulehnen und mal hier zuzuhören. Oh ja, let's go.
Live. What's going on, everybody? So I'm joined here with Dr. Todd Lee. He's a medical doctor, biochemist, and IFB
Er ist ein Medical Doctor und Biochemist. Okay.
Pro bodybuilder. We're going to be talking about a lot of stuff today. Gear talk, bodybuilding, training, veganism, vegan nutrition, protein sources, stuff like that. First stumbled across your channel because
Was der wohl für eine Rechtfertigung hat, Tiere zu fressen.
I just randomly got recommended your stuff. I've been interested in
Wenn der Bizeps besser wächst davon. Scheint ein guter Trade zu sein, oder? Huh.
taking steroids for a while. I've been natty my whole life, but you know, just being in the fitness industry and everything, being super into lifting, I've always been curious about taking steroids, and I've always looked for good information on the topic. Randomly got recommended your channel, really liked your stuff. You're one of the few people who talks about gear online that makes a hell of a lot of sense, and
Ach, mit Gier meinen die Stoff, also Steroide, okay. Ich dachte Gier im Sinne von Trainingsgier.
also simplifies some of the
Also Gier, diese Geräte halt, Gier, ne? Nicht Gier im Sinne von das deutsche Wort Gier.
more like complex topics and demystifies why you should or shouldn't use some of these drugs. Now, I just wanted to, like, let's just start off with some like gear talk. I have no idea what my testosterone levels are right now. I haven't actually gotten them checked. I had some like weird health thing going on a few months ago where I just randomly got this massive drop in appetite. And I was also having like weird fucked up shit with my libido where for a few days, zero libido. And then for another few days, just insane, crazy, fucking nonstop erections. I'd even be working out and like just boner. It was weird. So I wanted to get my test levels checked. There was a TRT clinic in Toronto that I found out about. And it seemed like they're pretty open to the idea of using like testosterone for performance enhancement. So kind of wanted to look into them. And then for some fucking reason, they hung up on me when they called me when I set up the appointment, and then they never called back. And I was like, well, so it's better now. I feel normal. And I've been making gains, but I wanted to just know some of your thoughts on, like, let's say somebody was apprehensive of just starting off with testosterone or something because of things like endogenous shutdown, maybe some of the side effects like acne and crap, hair loss. What do you think of like a growth hormone only cycle?
So the main public has been misinformed that if an appropriate amount of HRT caused any problems, then all the teenagers would be bald. So we can forget about the hair loss from HRT right there. Same thing with the pimples. Yes, you get pimples from huge surges, but in my experience from all the people I've worked with, if I put them on something low, like 20 milligrams of testosterone cypionate a day, so that the levels of the drug stay stable, they're not up and down, up and down, up and down. The way that these HRT clinics do it is wrong. They have you do 100 milligrams on Wednesday and Sunday, and they give you a half an Arimidex on Wednesday and Sunday. And the idea is that patient compliance, that they know that patients aren't going to be disciplined or responsible. So they give you a huge needle and have you fill it up to the number 1, and then they inject, or 0.5, and they have you inject that twice a week because it's the least amount of responsibility for the patient. Now, the patients misunderstand this and think that's the correct way to do it. That's not optimally the way to do it. That's just that when you treat 1,000 people, you'll get the best results this way, because out of 1,000 people, 500 of them are below average intelligence by definition. And so if you've got someone who isn't brain dead, then having them use an insulin syringe every day is much better, because the insulin syringe is smaller, it doesn't hurt, you can reach the muscle with it, and if you have stable levels, you're not going to have the fluctuations. And the side effects come from the fluctuations because when there's fluctuations, the enzymes 5-alpha reductase will convert the testosterone to DHT, and the enzyme aromatase will convert the testosterone to estradiol, and that those are good to a point, and then after that point, those become bad. So HRT is the foundation even if someone wanted to use performance enhancing drugs like steroids for any sport or for bodybuilding or for cosmetic reasons, you still need to do what people call a testosterone base is misleading because they do it wrong. A real testosterone base is just HRT. So using HRT with growth hormone is the best way to go, just 20 milligrams a day of test and 2 units a day of GH. And the reason for this.
Hallo Lilly. HRT ist auch Testosteron? Ich dachte TRT ist Testosteron. Ich bin verwirrt.
Is the GH potentiates the androgen receptor and the testosterone potentiates the GH receptor. So even though you're using these tiny doses, you can get incredible results due to synergy. And since these are naturally occurring hormones in the body, it's still HRT. That's why I call it HRT, not TRT. Is to try to use testosterone without growth hormone is running on one leg. To try to use growth hormone without testosterone is running on one leg. The other issue that we run into is people are afraid of.
Ich meine, Vegan Gains wird so und so irgendwann Steroide nehmen, also der hat es ja schon zigmal angekündigt. Wobei ich so und so schon seit Ewigkeit nicht glaube, dass der nett ist, aber okay.
The side effects of test, or they're afraid of the side effects of GH. Side effects occur when you're abusing a drug. By definition, if you're using a drug to the point where there's side effects, you've now abused the drugs. Side effects don't happen with use of a drug in almost anyone. A lot of times I'm going to speak in generalities because I'm speaking between the -2 and the +2 Z-scores. So 95% of the time, 95% of the population will respond the way I say. So if I say, if you do X, Y, you will get Z, that means 95% of people that will work. There will be some people that'll get Z +1. There'll be some people that get Z -1. Those are outliers. I can't address outliers. It would take forever. And it misrepresents the people are anxious. They have a lot of neuroses. So as soon as they hear a side effect, they imagine that side effect is going to happen to them. And through the nocebo effect, they create that side effect. So that's why I usually ignore those. And I wait until a patient has a problem. And then if there's a problem, I fix it. But most of the time, if I don't tell someone about it, they don't experience it. The perfect example is there's an anabolic steroid called nandrolone or DECA. I had a guy on DECA for 4 years, never had a problem. Somebody told him about DECA-Dick, and immediately he starts having DECA-Dick. And I'm like, dude, it ain't the DECA. Did you tell your girlfriend? He's like, yeah. I was like, so now she's rubbing it in your face that your dick isn't hard enough because she's being a bitch. Get rid of your girlfriend, get a new girlfriend, and
I have
don't
a
tell her
funny
about the
story
DECA.
that's similar to that. There was a guy who was in my chat during a live stream, and he said he never had any sleep problems. As soon as somebody told him that sleep is so important and you can like go retarded later in life and get dementia if you don't get enough sleep, he couldn't sleep after that because he was so paranoid. Yeah.
Yeah. So the nocebo effect's real. So the growth hormone without testosterone, you can do it if you have a high natural test. But keep in mind, if you're young, you might have a high natural GH. It might not be appropriate.
Sure. So like if I were to get my testosterone checked, let's say it was just at 1,000 total, and I just wanted, say, just some benefits for from growth hormone, just for like faster recovery, maybe I have some injuries that I want healed, it would probably still be worth taking GH. Like, would I be able to expect any like significant anabolic effects from it?
Nothing you would see it. It's like watching grass grow.
Right.
It's something that you throw in there because you know you should, but you're never going to see it, especially at your age. What are you, like 32 now?
34.
34. So now is the time to add in 2 units to make sure you stop aging and stay young forever. People will argue this, and it's a complicated issue, but the vitality, the youthful appearance will persist longer.
Yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about that. I've looked at some research on GH with healthy aging. I know for women, especially elderly women, like when you're talking about like 60 plus, it seems to be like pretty much universally negative. And when you get into very elderly, like 80 plus, women who have lower IGF-1 tend to live longer. So like the bottom 50% of like low IGF-1, which is sort of a proxy for growth hormone, they seem to live longer versus the women who have higher IGF-1. For men, that association isn't there. Whether it's high or low doesn't really seem to matter. And I know there's, I know this may be down to dosing schedule, like, you know, once a week or twice a week injections and stuff like that. But like I've seen brain swelling, water retention, increased rates of diabetes, like just as and it's defined as like high fasting blood glucose. They might not technically have diabetes if they stop the growth hormone.
Anabolika talk here.
Yeah, increased rates of stroke, and I've seen some like case reports of left ventricular hypertrophy and stuff. So there isn't really, like, when we're talking about growth hormone trials, I haven't seen any evidence that it actually helps anybody live longer, and it seems to also be associated with some risks. I know Brian Johnson was doing growth hormone. I think he was doing 2 IUs per day, so like nothing crazy. And I think he said he had increased brain pressure from it, and his fasting glucose went up. So like, what do you think about some of those issues?
None of these subjects were lifting weights. None of
Brian
these subjects
Johnson
were
does-
on steroids.
Brian Johnson does lift, but he doesn't lift, if you know what I mean.
I don't trust anything Liver King has to say. Once you get
No,
caught
not Liver
lying-
King. He's a fucking idiot. Like the other Brian Johnson, the kind of vegan Brian Johnson. You know, the guy who wants to live forever.
Oh.
Yeah, it's funny. They're both named Brian Johnson.
Yeah, so
Liver King was doing like
basically-
10 IUs per day or some shit like that.
it wasn't even that, honestly. He was spending 10,000 a month, but his cycle was just ridiculous.
Yeah.
They didn't know what the hell they were doing, and I could have fixed that in 5 minutes. When you look at the populations that are super old and at the end of their life, they've had a whole lifetime of screwing up. So you can't really look at what a 90-year-old woman who did nothing right her whole life, you give her some drug, and then the results don't work out for her, and then you blame the drug. She's on like 50 other meds that they're on Percocet for their hips, and they're on this medication for dementia. We don't know how those are all counteracting.
Sure.
We have to take somebody who's 20 years old, is a bodybuilder, and eating perfect. Our definitions of eating perfect are different at this point in this podcast.
Yeah.
By the end, we might have the same opinion about eating perfect.
Hopefully.
And then if they're eating perfect and they're living like Rocky IV, Ivan Drago lifestyle, and you're putting medicine into that body, then in theory, in that environment, it'll slow the aging process on joints, skin, connective tissue, when being influenced by the external loads of lifting weights and all the hardships that a bodybuilder endures. And it preserves vitality, making you your age span, like your health span, that at 60 you will be as healthy as someone, your identical twin, without it at 40, or at 80 you're healthy as someone who would have been without it at 60. Now, whether or not you're going to die at 103 and your twin also dies at 103, who knows? The drug hasn't been around that long. The drug hasn't been around long enough to give it to children and then have it run into 100 years from now. So in the year 2180, we can actually see, did the kids get growth hormone from the minute they turned 9 to the minute they turned 99? Did they outlive the kids who didn't, who were their identical twins? Then we have data. Until then, we don't have data.
We do have some. Growth hormone has been used to treat stunted growth in children. So that would be 2 standard deviations below the mean in terms of growth velocity. So those children do have an increased risk of death. Now, that may, again, be down to dosing. I don't know what the standard...
They're using 20.
Okay, yeah.
They're using 20 units. It's not
That's
using an HRT dose. It's 20 units.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So that's going to jack up their IGF-1 to enormous levels. And the thing about IGF-1 is, do you like dogs? I like dogs. Okay, so some people have big dogs and some people have little dogs. Big dogs live about 13 years. Little dogs live about 18 years. That's because they're going to say that's because of IGF-1. But it's really because they're just big dogs. So the heart has to work that much harder to push the blood through the whole body. So the IGF-1 makes you bigger, which is the point of it. You're trying to grow muscle. So because you're carrying around all that extra muscle, it's harder on your kidneys and your blood pressure. And that eventually is going to put wear and tear on your system as a whole. Now, would you rather have 80 great years and then drop dead? Or would you rather have 40 good years and 60 shit years and then die at 100? That's the person's choice. Furthermore, there's this confabulation with IGF-1 and cancer. IGF-1 is a growth factor, like growth hormone, like testosterone, like protein, mTOR, and all of those things are going to turn up cellular machinery and metabolism. So if you have a neoplasm, that neoplasm is going to grow. It's not oncogenic. It's not a carcinogen.
Yeah.
IGF-1 is not going to create a tumor. But if you have a tumor, it's going to grow faster because it grows everything. Now, this isn't necessarily bad, and this is controversial, but imagine if they find a tumor when you're 25, they cut it out, no harm, no foul. Whereas on the other hand, let's say they don't notice that same tumor until you're 75, they try to cut it out and you die on the table because you weren't healthy enough to survive surgery. In that case, the IGF-1 has saved you.
I'd have to research this and look into this, but I know at least for people in middle age, there were higher rates of reported cancers for people on growth hormone therapy.
Ja, an sowas habe ich auch noch nie gedacht. Man kann Steroide nehmen, die dann deine Tumore im Körper beschleunigen beim Wachstum. Und das ist etwas Gutes, wenn man die dann früher entdeckt. Okay.
Right, because they found them.
Well,
Also ich habe noch nie einen Typen gesehen, der einem Steroide so schmackhaft macht wie der Typ hier gerade. Unfassbar. Wow.
They were more detectable.
well, if they are growing faster and they're able to, just because of their rate of growth, sort of get past your immune system, that could, in theory, increase the risk of actually having cancer in a clinical sense.
If we were to correlate rate of growth with aggressiveness of growth, so that you could have a stage 1 tumor growing that's non-aggressive, and it just grows and grows and grows, but it never tries to metastasize. It doesn't necessarily mean because it's growing faster, it's more likely to colonize in lymph nodes or endpoint tissues.
Okay. I'd have to look it up again. I can't really remember exactly. I'm not sure if cancer survival rates or cancer deaths increased, or if it was just cancer incidence.
Also, the other thing is, and there's nothing wrong with this, but you're also looking at all outcome data, but not mechanistic data. As a biochemist, I'm more interested in mechanistic data than I am in outcome data, because the epidemiology is usually twisted by retrospective analysis because it's unethical.
Hallo Lilly, ups, ist das zu viel?
Vielen Dank, Zuckerinsel, für den mega krassen Support. 2000 Bits, holy shit. Vielen, vielen Dank, Mann. Das macht diesen Sauna-Stream, vor allem Stream. Mein Kasachen-Akzent, das macht den Stream sehr viel erträglicher. Dankeschön. Du hast den Balken da gesprengt.
Whereas with mechanistic data, since it's done in animal models, you can do that. So you get much higher quality data when you do prospective crossover double-blind studies.
You could it depends, but you could, probably establish a more conclusive case for a causal link.
Right. The correlation coefficient is very low for outcome data, where the correlation coefficient is very high.
Well, at least for those prospective studies, because they can't randomize each group and just give them hormones. They're really just looking at, people who are on HRT or not.
Right. So, for example, the best example, and this isn't a mean it's a dig, but this is the classic example, that they say that people who eat vegan live longer than people who don't. But then the confounding variable is they're eating a structured diet where they actually give a fuck about what they're eating, whereas the...
Ja, Bullshit. Der typische Bullshit-Claim, den ständig Omnis machen. Immer dieses, ich habe heute erst eine Debatte von Dr. Avi gehört, auch der hat das erwähnt. Immer diese Confounder, die man hat. Die Veganer sind so gesund, weil die so viel Sport machen. Weil die gesundheitsconscious sind, right? Weil sie sich gesünder ernähren und darauf achten und darauf achten und darauf achten. So, damit gibt es 2 Probleme. Erstens, woher weißt du das? Es sind ganz normale Durchschnittsveganer, sowie Durchschnittsomnis. Von daher, da bist du erstmal debunked, und zweitens wird danach adjustiert. Also hat man dir auch das zweite Bein gebrochen. Aber nice try, ist immer das Gleiche.
People who eat McDonald's and smoke Pall Mall.
Ja, und in der Studie essen die Veganer auch McDonald's.
And drink Jack Daniels, don't give...
Und dann sagen zum Beispiel, ja, die Veganer rauchen aber erheblich weniger. Ja, und deswegen wird danach adjustiert, Junge, das wird rausgerechnet, um die Ergebnisse nicht zu verfälschen. Du glaubst, die Forscher sind dümmer als du? Fehlanzeige.
give a fuck about themselves and don't even exercise. So I'm not disputing that the
Ja, imagine, es wird adjustiert nach Exercise. Oh wait, es wird danach adjustiert.
vegan diet would be healthier than most other diets, but you've got health conscious people versus people who
Bullshit.
aren't health conscious, and that's a major confounding variable.
I don't want to skip ahead too far, like,
Right.
but yeah, we'll definitely get into that in a bit. So,
Yeah.
Ja, wir werden so weit kommen, sagt er ja. Wir werden so weit kommen, indem er ihm zeigen wird, dass danach adjustiert wurde. Get fucking wrecked.
I was watching, I think Peter Attia's podcast. They were kind of talking about this, and yeah, like the healthy conscious variable when it comes to gear use is kind of an issue because, like, I've known some IFBB pro bodybuilders personally. There was a guy who trained at a gym near my work way back in the day when I was doing, I was training like kids hockey teams. And that guy looked fucking amazing. And back then he was in his 50s. He still looks really good. And he would be like in his mid 60s now. Like, there definitely are some dudes who hit the gear relatively hard. Like, I mean, they're IFBB pro bodybuilders, but I mean, I've seen some guys like get into their 60s, 70s, and they're still jacked. They still look great. They look young for their age, despite being on gear. It's hard to say if, like, okay, they were taking growth hormone for long periods of time. They probably were eating relatively healthy diets. They were exercising very frequently. Like, those are definitely lifestyle improvements versus your average American who's like smoking, drinking, eating like shit, not sleeping, you know, all that crap. I don't know how much you can really attribute the benefits of something like growth hormone you know, to their longevity versus everything else they're doing. And the growth hormone may have some benefits, surely. Like, you know, it does help with tissue repair and stuff like that. People do anecdotally report just feeling better. I don't know if you could say the growth hormone really did much in those circumstances versus literally everything else they're doing. And if you're talking about... Yeah, so like let's just use me as an example because I'm considering using growth hormone. Like, I have a very strict exercise routine. I think I follow a very good diet. Like, I'm training 2 to 3 hours a day, 30 minutes of cardio every day, plus like...
Ja, wisst ihr, wie Gain sich ernährt? Voll lustig. Der isst 3 Mahlzeiten oder halt 3 Portionen am Tag. Einmal Proteinshake. Und ich glaube, das so mittags rum oder nach dem Training oder so. Und abends isst der 400 Gramm Tofu oder was? Und dazu einen Salat, also Salatblätter mit Himbeeren und Brombeeren. Das ist seine Ernährung. Proteinshake, Tofu und dann Salatblätter und Himbeeren und Brombeeren. Also eine große Salatschüssel. Ohne Soße.
Like mountain biking, rollerblading, stuff like that. Like, would the growth hormone like really be expected to add much to that?
It depends on your IGF-1. If you're at a 106 IGF-1 and we get your IGF-1 up to a 300, the medical community, even the sissies who are all caution neuroses, will agree that a 300 IGF-1 is still safe.
Okay.
So if that's why in my videos I say get your IGF-1 up to a 300, and then we don't have to push it. Like right now, mine's a 457. I'm not scared, but I wouldn't advocate to other people who have other goals because to me, it's about winning. If I die, I die, but I'd rather die trying than live quitting. So I'm going to do whatever it takes to win. And so I have no problem with a 457.
Right. You're just willing to incur higher risk.
Most people, they say, I want to be really healthy, and then I want to use all these extremely dangerous drugs. And it's like, motherfucker, no, you don't. You want to be cool because you think cool kids use steroids. No, you don't even have a goal in mind. You just want to use steroids just to use steroids. It's stupid. I want to win, and so I'm willing to do whatever it takes to win, and I'm going to do the least dangerous things it takes to do it. But I'm not afraid of a 4 or 5 year exposure to a 450 IGF-1. But for the general public, 300 IGF-1, that's a normal level. It's nothing dangerous.
It's just like upper range, sort of like
it's upper range
T or something.
Exactly. Like, who's going to be a better athlete, the 200 T and the 100 IGF-1 guy, or the 1500 T and the 300 IGF-1 guy, the second guy, in all other things considered, assuming they're monozygous, aka
Hallo Kati.
identical twins. So for you, if your test is 1,000, leave it the fuck alone. If your IGF-1's at 296, leave it the fuck alone. You're just a genetic upper limit of normal. You've got a phenomenal physique. I've seen you grow into an extremely well-built man.
Thanks.
In 5-6 years ago, I was like, I see some definition. I wouldn't call him big, but I don't know how tall he is. Now I know you're 6'3", but you look jacked.
Thank
you. And also I think you're 208 now or 220.
No, I think I'm close to 190 now.
Okay.
I've been dieting. I got up to 276 when I benched 410.
Shit.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
I was heavier before too. I think I got up to 289. I was running up to 405 bench. I got up to 410.
Wow.
But I bulked up. I just had to fucking do it. Like looking back now, I don't think I really needed to get that heavy, but I just really had that as a goal. Like I just had to bench 405. So I bulked up. I got up to like 289. I just couldn't get up to the weights I needed to lift. I think I needed 365 for 3 in order to realistically bench 405. I got up to like 340 for sets of 3. I just couldn't.
On the dot.
Yeah,
On the dot.
I just couldn't accumulate any higher, so I dieted down. I think I got down to 235. Then I did another run up. I did a long hypertrophy phase. Got up to like 315 for 9, almost got 10 on the bench. So then I transitioned into a strength phase, got up to the 365 for 3. And I was about like 270 then. And then a couple weeks later, I attempted 405, and then I actually got up to 410. 405 moved super easy. And then after that, just because, goal hit, I just dropped weight super quick. I actually lost 70 pounds in 3 months.
That's crazy.
That was hellish. Weird thing that happened to me. I had mental health issues my whole life, like suicidal depression since I can remember. It ended up getting to a point where I was just gonna kill myself. So my wife at the time, we're breaking up now, but my wife at the time, oh no, it's good. Best decision I ever made. No hard feelings. But yeah, my wife at the time, she's like, okay, look, you need to get help. So I saw my doctor, got put on a bunch of different medications. I think it was Seroquel. It was some antipsychotic to try to stabilize my mood. As soon as I took it, I noticed I had a pretty significant reduction in appetite. And even after I went off of it, still permanent. It seems like it's a permanent reduction in appetite. I haven't been on that, like any antidepressants whatsoever in at least a year now. I actually cured my depression with magic mushrooms. That's an interesting story.
Microdosing?
No, big, massive, like, fuck your brain doses. I had one fucking excellent trip, and we can talk about that a bit later. But yeah, depression cured, being off all medications, appetite still suppressed, and I don't think I've been on any antipsychotics for, I think, at least 2 years. So, and I've actually talked to at least one other person who had the same side effect. So I'm able to stick to a diet like super, super fucking easy now. The only issue that I really have is blood pressure and blood sugar. Like I still have that effect from not eating. It's just that I don't get hungry like a normal person. So I can lose weight fucking quick, but I'll faint like crazy and like nearly smash my head on something, or have like super low blood sugar, feel like shit, but I don't get the hunger craving. So yeah, it was easy in terms of like controlling hunger to lose that like crazy amount of weight in 3 months. But yeah, just like the fainting, blackouts, I've almost smashed my head a few times like on a counter because I just start blacking out. But
have you tried Retatrutide?
No, I haven't tried any GLP-1 agonists.
This is magical. That I was on 50 units of insulin just to control my diabetes. And after 1 day of 1 milligram of Retatrutide, I didn't need insulin anymore, and my diabetes was gone.
Whoa.
Now, of course, I'm a hyper responder, but it is fucking awesome that I will never have to worry about dieting again. It's like I'm never hungry, but I can eat when I need to eat. The hardest part about bodybuilding is the diet. It's gone. It's literally gone. And then also you mentioned something else that I wanted to interject, but I didn't interrupt you. It was right around when you said something about your blood sugar, your heart rate. Are you measuring your blood pressure around your arm?
Well, I saw your video on that. And I thought that was interesting. Through my entire life, I've actually had a tendency to have fairly low blood pressure, below 120/80. My mom has a similar thing. She's actually prone to fainting too. recently when I got my blood pressure reading, it was a little high. It was like 135 or something.
Okay.
I had to go to the hospital a couple times. First time I went, it was 120/80, like perfect on the dot. And I was also like, I also took caffeine, nicotine, and I couldn't sleep, but I took some like caffeine and nicotine, just to safely make it to the hospital, because I couldn't sleep and I didn't want to like doze off and like crash.
Right.
But yeah, even on the caffeine, nicotine, it still read 120/80. But then the next time I went, it was like 135 or something, and I was surprised. But then I saw your video. Yeah, I didn't know that. So if you have more muscle mass on your, like around your brachial artery, it requires more pressure to actually compress the brachial artery. I had no idea. So my blood
Nobody
pressure,
does.
yeah, my blood
No
pressure is
doctor has
probably pretty
figured this
fucking
out
low.
yet. No doctor has figured this out yet.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's so obvious when you think about it. Nobody has figured this out yet.
Yeah, so I don't have like a blood pressure monitor. I've just never needed it. Literally every time I've gone to the hospital, I've gotten my blood pressure checked, and sometimes they ask me like, "Do you feel okay?" Because apparently my blood pressure is being like so low, it's like near where it's indicative of a problem. But that was like a long time ago when I was a lot smaller. Now that my arms are a lot larger, it's
Like
reading a
bigger.
bit more normal.
Right.
So
Right.
my blood pressure is probably still low. I had, even when I'm like bulked up, I still have a tendency to like faint when I'm doing certain lifts. So
This
yeah.
is for your audience. So I would normally lay down and put this on top of my heart, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to thread it through my shirt so it keeps it above my heart without me having to use muscles to do it. Let's see. Want it above your heart. Sometimes it takes 2 or 3 uses and you're not supposed to talk. And I'd have to lay down to get it. But anyway, or because I haven't had my blood pressure, I haven't checked my blood pressure in a while, but I don't think I'm up to 160 or 108. After this, I'll lay down and do it. But moving around, it kind of jacks it up a bit.
Yeah, but I'm not worried about my blood pressure. Like I'm vegan, do cardio, I'm at a healthy body weight, and again, like historically, I've actually always had a tendency to have like pretty low blood pressure, and I'm prone to fainting. So I'm not worried about that. But yeah, that was interesting. If you have more muscle mass, you should get a wrist cuff to test the blood pressure. Yeah, but yeah, you know, I've always been pressured to like take steroids and shit because like again I'm in the industry, had like body image issues and shit for forever, but I like.
Na ja, Pause brauchen wir auch mit Musik.
Ja, Mann, vielen Dank für die gute Pause und die Abkühlung. Ich hoffe, ihr hört den Ventilator nicht, aber es ist unerträglich. Vielen Dank für den Mega Monster Support. Holy shit, heute bist du aber spendabel, ey. Eieiei, heute knallt's ja richtig durch. Vielen Dank, Zuckerinsel. Mann. Hallo, Jonas. Ja, wir haben hier Steroid Talk die ganze Zeit. Ich finde es recht interessant, actually.
Content because you literally put it plainly, like, look, if you're able to make progress, you know, what's the point? So I think I'm going to hold off, you know, doing any like actual steroids like testosterone or something until like the progress stops, because I've made a lot of fucking gains, especially in the last year since I got rid of my depression. Bro, just being in a fucking good mood all the time and just loving fucking training. I've never enjoyed training so much, and I've just made so much progress, I think, just from that benefit and like mood uplift and like the reduction in stress. But I am.
Der benutzt aktuell THC Edibles, um seine Laune zu steigern. Die sind in Deutschland verboten.
Interested in growth hormone just because like I do have some nicks and dings. I completely tore off the adductor longus on my left leg from doing squats, and I think it reattached on its own, but there's like tendinopathy, and I've had issues opening up my leg, and I have actually kind of hurt it a few times doing squats and deadlifts. So like just some injuries like that. I'm kind of interested in growth hormone and maybe some peptides like TB500 for just like helping healing.
Oh yeah. So did you see my Wolverine stack video?
Yeah.
Yeah. So my first line of defense. Oh man, is it not here?
The Butcher Bomb?
Butcher Bomb. Yeah, that's my first line of defense here. And this is Brett's brainchild. that I use this on my elbow and I use it on my knee because those tendons are right on the surface. And then for something deeper, if I have to get it into a tendon, something deeper, I'll inject BPC. Now, regardless of that, I'm always going to inject TB500 and the GHKCU and the GH. And I usually would want to stack that with Anavar, because Anavar is on label for wound repair because of the collagen synthesis. The thing is, though, all of them do collagen synthesis. That a lot of these pharmaceutical companies, in order to bring a new drug to market, they have to have a reason to bring this drug to market. Either it's got a different half-life, or it's better at treating a different disease, or it has a special feature. So all the anabolic steroids do pretty much the same thing, just some of them are better at some things than others. So Anavar isn't even the best for collagen synthesis. It's just since EQ, which isn't made for humans, they were able to get the Anavar on label for collagen synthesis. Like Anadrol is on label for anemia because the biggest side effect of the Anadrol is how much it jacks up your red blood cells. So its flaw is what it's marketed for,
Right.
but that's not why they made it. So my cocktail would be BPC 157, TB 500, GHKCU, GH, potentially IGF-1, but the GH begets IGF-1, and either Anavar or EQ or DECA. Although remember, DECA and EQ come with some pretty hefty side effects. Like the side effect from Anavar, it crushes your HDL. The side effect from EQ is, in theory, it can damage your kidneys. I believe it's because it causes dehydration from crushing your estrogen. And then the side effect from the nandrolone is it's a glucocorticoid receptor antagonist. So it's going to cause a blocking of the glucocorticoid receptor, which in the brain can result in brain damage. Also, it will cause the estrogen alpha receptor to be more sensitive on the breast, and you're more likely to get gyno from your existing testosterone converting to estrogen. And I know that's super high-tech stuff, but I just wanted to be thorough about it because I didn't want it to sound like I'm advocating using anabolic steroids just to repair a wound.
Yeah, so like if I just wanted to try to recover from like tendinopathy or something, and I was doing isometric exercises, stretching, slow eccentric stuff like that, like just relying on those peptides would probably be the best solution, and staying away from like Anavar and Nandrolone.
I would say ice is the best solution, and if it hurts, don't do it. So the rest, ice, compression, elevation, that's the best thing to do. But when it comes to what drugs to do, if I was going to rank order them, I would say TB500 immediately, GHCKU is the second line of defense. BPC 157, because you have to inject a tendon, is the third line of defense. Growth hormone would be the fourth line of defense. And then anabolics like Anavar or something that's also collagen synthesis driven would be the fifth line of defense.
Okay. I actually had a pretty gnarly shoulder injury a while ago. This was like 2-3 years ago. I took a whole month off of training upper body, tried to go into training again, still fucked up. It was like a little better. And then I heard of TB500 and BPC. I decided to go with TB500 because there seems to be a bit more human research on it. That actually worked fucking amazingly. Yeah, after the 4 weeks I was on that, I was actually able to go back into training 2 weeks later. And then by the 4th week, my shoulder was just all better, like good as new. I don't know if this was from the TB500, but before I took the TB500, I felt something on my back. It felt like a little pimple, but it was like deep in the skin, so I couldn't pop it. And then a week into the TB500, that little bump turned into this huge golf ball size cyst. And it was painful as shit. I woke up just noticing it. And again, my wife at the time, she was out doing whatever. I told her, you have to come back home. Like, you have to pop this thing in my back. And she's like, yeah, it's not a big deal. Like, I'll do it when I get back home in a few hours. And I'm like, no, can you come home now? Because it hurts. And then she's like, it's not that big of a deal. I'll come back home. She comes home and sees it, didn't realize how bad it was. And she was like, holy fucking shit. So then she had to get a reconstitution needle, this like really big, thick ass needle, stab it, and then like pop it. And like the amount of fucking pus that came out of that thing was just crazy. I have no idea if that was side effect of like the TB500 or something, but
I think you probably had an existing infection.
Yeah.
And that because the TB500 stops the inflammation, it's inhibiting the immune system.
Yeah, maybe.
So there was no natural defense against that. And so what was formed in that infection just grew like crazy.
Yeah, maybe. Okay. Why don't we get into getting jacked as a vegan? Because
Okay.
yeah, I've seen a lot of your videos on like protein and stuff, eating, and occasionally, like, when I'm working out or something, listening to stuff, you'll bring up vegans, and then I'm like, here we go. So yeah, I've been vegan for 15 years, haven't eaten any animal products and shit. Like, again, you can see like my lifts on YouTube. I benched 410, overhead press 240 as a natural. You can look at my physique updates and shit. I think I look pretty fucking good at this point.
Right.
So like I've made a fair bit of progress. I've never noticed any downsides to being vegan from transitioning to eating meat, being vegan. I've been lifting since pretty much like beginning of high school. And then right at the end of high school, I turned vegan. So I have I have a fair bit of experience lifting before being vegan and after. I actually noticed right after going vegan, my lifts very clearly actually improved. I saw an increase in progress. Also saw my waist like shrunk down. It wasn't just from like fat loss, like eating less. I think it like just helped my digestion, just eating more fiber and crap. Maybe I had just overall dietary improvement, and I just felt better, like more energy. And anecdotally, I know some people who've had that experience. Patrick Baboumian, he's a vegan strongman. He's retired now, but he was a vegan strongman. He held, I think he was Germany's strongest man at one point, and he had some German records, and he did have a world record in the yoke lift at one point. Pretty strong dude. I've seen him like easily squat 800 pounds. He also did bodybuilding before he went vegan. I think he was vegetarian then. And he also anecdotally noticed, when he switched to veganism, his lifts actually improved, felt better, more energy. Clarence Kennedy, I don't know if you follow weightlifting or anything like that, Olympic lifting, but he's a big like Olympic weightlifting YouTuber. He doesn't actually compete because he's openly on steroids and he can't compete. But for a guy who's just recreationally lifting, he's like actually legit, like pound for pound, one of the strongest people on the planet.
Die sollen hier diese Regularien abschaffen, dass man keine Steroide benutzen darf. Vor allem bei Bodybuilding und Strongman und sowas, Alter, was für ein Quatsch. Schafft das einfach ab.
Actually is competitive against Olympic weightlifters in his weight class, like on the Olympic stage. So really, really fucking strong dude.
Ich wäre sogar dafür, das bei den Olympischen Spielen abzuschaffen.
He's known as Harry Squatter because he looks like Harry Potter and he can squat a fuck ton of weight. So he said he actually didn't notice any difference whatsoever. So it varies from person to person, but from what I've seen, like worst case scenario, it makes no difference. Best case scenario, like obvious improvement. That's just anecdotally. Right. Based on research, there is some older research that showed like people eating a purely plant-based diet grew less muscle. From what I've seen, most of that is just them eating less protein. Like they were clearly eating substantially less protein than like meat eater groups. Right. Recently, there have been a few trials that have come out. One of them directly assessing muscle mass and strength improvements. It wasn't a randomized trial, and the authors actually had reasons for not having a randomized design. They were worried about diet adherence. So if you get a bunch of meat eaters, tell them to eat a purely plant-based diet, who knows if they're going to like eat something stupid, shit their brains out, complain, go off the diet. So they actually found vegans, they found meat eaters, roughly same body weight, age, put them on a protein match diet, no difference in muscle mass and strength. There's actually quite a few randomized trials just looking at like whey protein versus pea protein, soy protein, rice protein. Again, no difference. Now, that's not a complete dietary change. These people were still eating other protein sources, but they were swapping out whey protein with these different plant-based protein isolates. No difference. And there's some protein synthesis studies where they looked at like post-exercise ingestion of whey or pea or soy, and they were looking at rates of protein synthesis. It seems to be very close on average, especially with soy, but it seems to be a bit lower. Now, you could argue area under the curve. You may have a bigger spike with whey, but the area under the curve ends up being roughly the same. And I do know there's at least one study on mycoprotein, which actually found it had the same rate of muscle protein synthesis as whey. Right. So altogether,
every single one of the things you mentioned, I've also found in my research.
Yeah.
So I wanted to design a protein years ago that was pea and rice protein, and hemp protein. The problem was I couldn't find a distributor that would make it where I could get the fiber taken out. And so people were getting gas. So it wasn't going to market well.
Okay.
But I definitely think that if you could leucine and glutamine, leucine fortify pea protein and have it stabilized for taste, you could make a market out of it. The thing I run into is when I use a powder-based diet, I get terrible indigestion. I have to eat whole foods. And so I don't know of a whole food diet that would get the correct ratio of protein to carbohydrates using vegan whole food sources. The best I found is peas. Peas is my primary protein source. It's my primary vegetable source. So I've always tried to minimize the amount of animal death with the way I consume. And I, unlike most bodybuilders, count the vegetable protein towards my total protein amount for the day. Pea, Ezekiel bread is a good example as well. There's also the counter argument that in the agriculture process, there's a lot of animal death that occurs, but I'm sure that that's drop in the bucket compared to the cruelty that the chickens and the cows endure. So I pretty much limit myself to fish and chicken, and I try to eat as little red meat as possible. And I totally have a guilty conscience about eating meat. And if there was a way to grow muscle without eating meat in an affordable way that I could digest, I would make the slow transition over the span of a year or two until I was totally on vegan. The thing is in my field, I have to win eating vegan. Otherwise, I make vegans look bad.
Right. Okay. I get what you're saying. We can maybe talk about some of that. So you're saying you get indigestion from eating, is it any like protein powder, like including whey?
Also der hat schon gesagt, dass er ein schlechtes Gewissen hat für die Tierprodukte, die er isst. Okay. Soweit, so gut.
Or okay.
Especially whey.
Especially
I
whey.
basically the only ones I can handle very well are if I have one scoop of beef isolate a day, which is made of collagen. So if you look at the actual collagen peptides, they match up identical with beef, which tells me that the beef isolate you're getting when you buy beef protein is really just tendons.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
herbs and stuff.
I saw that video you made. It's pretty scammy. I didn't know that.
So my expectation is that I'm eating the parts of the animals that were going to get thrown out anyway, that I'm not adding to the death. It's obviously a faulty justification. And then with the chicken thing is chickens turn over very quickly. And I have less of an emotional attachment to avians than I do towards mammals. And that this doesn't make it okay. And that the same thing with fish is that fish have less personality than a cow, but fish stink up your whole house if you try to cook with it. So I have 1 can of tuna a day, and I have usually about 2 pounds of chicken tenderloins a day. And I want to minimize the amount of animal death that I cause. And to me, I know that vegan's all or nothing, but as a professional bodybuilder, again, if I go Danny Reardon tried this. Danny Reardon went all vegan, and she ruined her career. And then it made veganism look
What's her name?
bad. And Danny Reardon, she was 3rd in the Olympia
Reardon.
about 10 years ago in a women's physique. So I knew that if I had to be a winner at the top level of the sport and then disclose that it was due to veganism, because as soon as you put veganism next to your name, you've got a huge bullseye and you make vegans look terrible. So you have to win and be a vegan.
So
There's no...
Yeah, few things to say here. One, I think we know there's a problem with women and dieting. There is.
Say it mildly. To say it mildly.
Yeah. So I don't know if she's a great example of like, okay, this is what veganism can do to you. Like, bro, the amount of chicks. I used to work as a personal trainer and I did online coaching and stuff. And like, bro, the amount of stupid shit that women eat, it's great. My ex-wife, like, my God, I don't understand. It's like all women. I'd give my wife gained a bit of weight and then she wanted help losing weight. And then I gave her a diet plan. She just bought a fucking pack of protein bars, like vegan protein bars, and would eat like 1 or 2 a day. And that was her diet. And I'm like, what are you fucking doing? And then she'd complain about feeling sick and shit all the time. And I'm like, yeah, you're eating nothing but fucking protein bars. So I don't know. Like, I don't know if
that's in a nutshell. That's in a nutshell.
So I don't know if I don't know if it's like one of those things with that chick where it's like, okay, well, maybe she was literally just eating vegan protein bars or something weird was going on. And that's kind of what fucked up her physique. But if you were to eat, I don't know, like more like me or something, or more like Clarence Kennedy or Patrick Baboumian actually got in really fucking good shape recently. He used to do bodybuilding and he's like pretty much retired from doing strength sports and shit. So he got in shape recently and was looking absolutely fucking sick. You might want to. I'll try to hook some of you guys up because you could maybe get some advice from these people. I'll just send you a link to his Instagram. I think he's active on there, and he should like message you. I'll also message him and give him a heads up. There's also the bodybuilding vegan, and he's a competitive bodybuilder, and I think it's pretty obvious he's also on PEDs too. So you might want to like maybe check out some of their stuff, and you know, maybe they can help you with some of these things. I know dudes on gear do have like weird dietary issues a lot of the time, so like my stomach can like handle practically anything. Like I never get stomach issues, except this one time recently. I was trying to find like just a cheaper protein powder on Amazon, and I tried this unflavored pea protein. That fucking wrecked my asshole. I don't know what the hell it was. I've had unflavored pea protein before. I'm not even convinced it was protein. I think they like put sawdust in it or something. I've literally never had that reaction. But genuinely fucking wrecked my asshole. That was weird, but like I never have digestive problems from eating like anything. But I do know a lot of guys on high doses of gear have problems like that, so you might
In the past, I've used red lentil pasta. I've used lentils. I've used rice protein pasta. So I've always went out of my way to find non-gluten protein sources. In Danny's case, she didn't know that gluten and wheat protein were the same thing. So she had a 100% gluten diet.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. So you can't make this shit up. Can't make this shit up. So I'm not saying that my point of her wasn't that she failed, and so I'm afraid of failing. My point is that it made the whole world think that you can't be a bodybuilder and be a vegan. So I have to win on a vegan diet. I can't get second. Because like, oh, if you had eaten meat, you would have gotten first, and then it's going to make all vegans look bad, and it's not my goal.
Right.
And if I ever disparaged vegans, it was usually I lumped it in with like man bun, soy latte, vegan, the Anthony Balducci or whatever type of soy boy thing. And it was to prove some type of hyperbolic point of like the antithetical thing to a space marine from Warhammer 40K. It isn't that I actually believe there's anything wrong with sparing animal life. And I often have said that I'm all about the vegan approach towards preserving animal life from a ethical standpoint. There's a lot of people who I respect say that even though on paper, there's no reason why leucine fortified plant protein wouldn't work. For some reason, it just doesn't translate to real gains. Whether it's carnosine or zinc or whatever the fuck it is.
Well, what do you mean by that though? Like, are you talking about from like whole food sources?
It's not even my statement. It's just people smarter than me about nutrition are like, Todd, I understand what you're saying. I've made your argument. I've tried it. In the end, it's nothing beats steak and chicken for putting on mass. And maybe it'll work for preserving muscle in the off season. I don't know. But again, if you're trying to eat enough, there's only so much red lentil pasta you can eat before you've got a 10-to-1 ratio or a 3-to-1 ratio
of like protein carbs.
Yeah. In the off season, we can be high carb and low protein. And that's one, I would be more plant-based food. But in competition prep, you're eating chicken breasts and fish and peas and very little else.
Well, do you have issues with digesting tofu?
Never tried it because it's so gross. But
tofu's great, dude. It's not gross. Okay, what tofu did you have?
I like it when it's in my miso soup, but that's about it.
Okay, so there's obviously ways of making tofu.
Ja, zu sagen, dass man Tofu nicht mag. Was zum Henker sagst du dort überhaupt? Junge, es gibt so viel Tofu in so vielen verschiedenen Variationen. Probier mal diesen Asia-Tofu, den gelben, Junge, von Typhoon. Und dann sag nochmal, dass der Tofu nicht schmeckt. Der hat wahrscheinlich aus dem Aldi das Naturtofu vor 5 Jahren gekauft. Das wirklich schmeckt wie Sockenwasser.
That would taste good.
Right. So is tofu, I thought tofu was a soy blend of all 3 protein, carbs, and fats equally.
No, not the case? It's I think it's like over 80% protein. It's mostly protein. It's got a little teeny tiny bit of carbs in it, and then the rest is fat.
And what I will do is I will try to incorporate a tofu meal, like some noodles and tofu meal.
Well, you know what's dope?
Forward. And
what I love is fucking Korean barbecue sauce. Korean barbecue sauce is fucking god tier. I love that shit, but you can use whatever sauce you like. But dude, I'm telling you, Korean barbecue sauce is fucking lit. What I do is I just put some avocado oil in a pan, like you only need a tablespoon or something. Fry the tofu, like medium heat on a pan, get it nice and crispy. Turn it to low heat, let the pan like cool down a little bit, then drizzle some Korean barbecue sauce over the tofu. And then just sear it on both sides with the Korean barbecue sauce, get it more crispy, and then you get the nice barbecue sauce flavor infusing into the tofu. And then, like, just that as a meal when I'm dieting is just fucking god tier. Like, I can't get enough of it.
all right, well, I'll tell you what. I'll incorporate one meal of this tofu and see how my body reacts. And if everything's all good, I'll phase out a second chicken meal for the tofu, and maybe by the end of this prep I'll be eating all tofu and not any other protein source, and then my conscience will be clear.
And
if I look shredded.
And tofu has a lot of health benefits. It's protective against prostate and breast cancer too. And I actually saw a video you made. You're talking about soy isoflavones and how it binds to the beta receptor, and it might actually have a beneficial influence on IGF-1. Who knows? Like, I eat a fucking lot of tofu, and I've gotten pretty jacked. So, like, I don't know. Maybe there's something to it.
Right, that would be cool.
Let me see.
You know my shit better than me. I don't even remember that video.
There's also soy-free tofu, and I think it's made with fava beans or something. Let me see ingredients. Pea protein and fava beans.
Soja senkt sogar den Cholesterinspiegel.
It's actually a bit higher protein than normal tofu. So you might also want to try. You might also want to try to find that. It likely has a different flavor, but fava bean tofu might be something if you can find it. I actually haven't been able to. I live in a small ass fucking town, so our grocery stores are pretty basic bitch type of thing.
Habt ihr schon mal von sojafreiem Tofu gehört? Was ist das denn?
But if you can find fava bean tofu, I'll send you a link to what the stuff looks like. It's a Big Mountain brand. They sell it. I'll just send you a message on Insta. So that's just what it looks like. And it's 64 grams per 340 grams. 64 grams protein, I think, per pack. Yeah, 340 gram pack. So
that's like one meal. How many?
I don't know how many calories, so 64 grams of protein times 4, like that'd be 256 calories just from the protein. There's probably some fat in there too, but pretty low in calories, pretty high in protein.
Right. I also have to consider cost though. Like if I'm eating 300 grams of protein a day, I could go 5 of those packs. How much are we talking? $25 a day, $750 a month versus tofu?
Well, so the tofu I get from the store is $2.50 per pack, and it's 500 grams. That's just the normal tofu, and I usually have 2 to 4 per day. That's assuming I'm not dieting. So, like dieting, I'll only have 2 per day. Not dieting could be 2 to 4 per day. So that's $5 to $10 per day tofu. If you go to
2 bis 4 Packungen 500er pro Tag. Manchmal 4 Packungen pro Tag. Dicker.
An Asian, if that's Canadian dollars too, so Canadian.
Oh
circles.
Shit! So all right. So if I go to an Asian grocery store, I could be looking at spending less than $200 a month on protein, because right now I spend probably $330 a month American on chicken alone.
Yeah, so plant-based protein is probably a bit of a cheaper option. I think on average, I usually spend like maybe $60.
Leucine?
Huh?
I mean, are you going to we need to hit 3 grams of leucine per meal in order for it to be worth the time of eating the meal. So is there enough leucine in tofu per 100 grams to matter?
Well, soy is pretty high in leucine. I think if you just looked up the leucine in soy isolate, I know it's different than tofu, but since it's the same total amount of grams of protein coming from the same plant,
Right.
you can kind of you
Well,
can kind of do
you're
the
more
math.
you're techno wizard. Can you look that up right now and see?
Yeah,
Because
let
I
me
know it's 2 grams. It's 2 grams per 100 grams of beef. It's 3 grams per 20 grams of whey, and those are the beef is the lowest amount of leucine. Whey is the most. I remember soy being in the middle.
So
Not
for
bad.
so this is according to Steel Supplements on Google. For every 100 grams of whey protein isolate, there should be between 11 to 13 grams of leucine. Same
Right.
amount of soy protein isolate will net you 8 to 9 grams.
All right, so
So
let me
you'd,
do the
you'd get
math.
about you'd
So
probably
if I
get
have
well over that.
15, so if I have 30 grams of soy protein, I'm getting my minimum of 3 leucine.
Yeah.
All right, that's all I give a shit about. Plus, it's higher in arginine and higher in glutamine, which are your awesome amino acids for recovery and immune system health, making soy better than. And then there's unclear whether the isoflavonoids have any type of feminizing effect.
Yeah,
But
there's
apparently,
none.
I covered that and said that it's the beta receptors, which is the anabolic effect, making there being actually a hormonal benefit from eating soy that isn't present from anything
Yeah,
else.
there was just recently an updated meta-analysis on soy and soy isoflavone supplements. I think there was one done in like 2015 or something. There was a recent one done like a year or two ago. They found the same thing, no feminizing effect whatsoever. It doesn't affect like free androgen levels or anything. There's only 2 case reports ever recorded where people ate high amounts of soy and got like breast tissue growth. So, and they were under weird circumstances. I know one of them was a type 2 diabetic, really fat fuck, and he was eating like nothing but like some soy chicken nuggets. And then
Right.
who knows if he already had the gynecomastia? He might have only like noticed it.
Let's go back even further. Who has the smallest boobs?
Asian chicks.
Right. Who eats the most soy?
Asian chicks. They also have the lowest rates of breast cancer.
Right. So I'm not convinced that soy causes breast growth. The people that eat the most of it have the smallest boobs.
Yeah, and I mean, like I've eaten.
Nobody ever looks at it like that. I look at everything that way. They're like, oh, IGF.
Ja, und noch nie hat irgendjemand einen Typ gezeigt, der vom Sojaessen Gynäkomastie oder Brüste bekommen hat. Also nice Stories immer, die da erzählt werden. Geschichten aus dem Paulanergarten.
GH going to give me cancer. Who's got the highest levels of GH? Kids. Who has the lowest amount of cancer? Kids. So how does GH cause cancer? Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, even people with acromegaly, I don't think they actually have increased cancer risk.
Cancer.
They have other
No.
problems, but
A lot of them, but not that one.
yeah. So yeah, I mean,
Nice.
I've seen like people do their own anecdotal experiments with soy. Brian Turner, vegan bodybuilding YouTuber, he decided to eat like extremely high amounts of soy per day, like every single meal soy, and his testosterone I think increased by 100 nanograms per deciliter by the end of the experiment. So like there's just no evidence that it actually has any feminizing effects in humans. I think people got freaked out because of rat studies, and they also made some stupid assumptions because women going through menopause, soy seems to have some benefits, but
I remember I lived through that, and they were basically telling all women not to have soy because it causes breast cancer, and there was no actual data. It was just they were repeating it, what they heard.
where did you even hear that? Because like I'm sort of old-ish, 34. I've literally never heard that in my entire life. I've always been told soy prevents breast cancer.
Oh, this was 2007,
Ja, und wir haben Studien dazu, dass es das prevented.
2008 in the hospitals. All the doctors were telling the women not to eat soy,
That's weird.
but they were they were telling them to have dairy,
Which
is
probably
it causes breast cancer. So
there's actually a very strong link between dairy and prostate cancer. The relationship between dairy and breast cancer is a little more mixed, but again, it probably increases breast cancer risk.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Western medicine. I pretty much hate Western medicine. The MDs there, people pay attention when I talk because of it. They don't realize that the IFBB Pro is worth so much more than the MD.
Dude, you want to hear a hilarious story?
Sure.
I was doing online coaching, and I had a client. I was working with him. He was recovering from cancer. He I think he was cancer free for like a year or two. He could only bench the bar. And I got him up to, I think, nearly benching 200 for a 1 rep max in like about a year. And I noticed like with some lifts, his progress was like really, really fucking slow. Like we can only add 5 pounds, like maybe every 2, 3, 4 weeks. And I told him, like, you might want to get your testosterone checked. Like, I know you're recovered from cancer and stuff, but it's a little weird. So he didn't get it checked, but he ended up getting it checked later because I just brought it up again. It was in the fucking gutter. I think he had like the testosterone of like an 80-year-old man or something. It was like 80 or some shit total. Goes to the fucking doctor. The doctor was only going to inject him with, I think, like 100 milligrams of an enthate once per month. And then he said, well, the half-life only lasts for like a week or something. So what's going to happen for the rest of the month? And then he said, don't worry about it. So then he just goes to a TRT clinic, and then even they were doing some weird stuff. He's on a test an enthate cypionate mix, and it's a once-a-week injection. And they also gave him Rumidex. I told him not to take the AI unless he's getting like estrogen sides. So yeah, dude, it's unhinged what some of these doctors are fucking doing.
So bad at their jobs. It's so bad at their jobs. Oh my God, my job security is so fierce. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable how bad they are at their jobs.
Yeah. Oh, bro.
It's like if you
it's crazy. Last time I went to the hospital, I was having that problem where I had like the massive reduction in appetite, couldn't sleep. I went in just to get a checkup, and I wanted to get a blood test and stuff, and like maybe get some tests done. They didn't want to do any tests, and they told me to just look up a solution online. I'm not even kidding you. They're just look it up online, Google it. I'm like, what the fuck?
Oh man, oh Canada.
I don't know, man. At least it's free.
Well, you get what you pay for. You get, and if you pay nothing, you get nothing.
Well, overall, my experience with the Canadian healthcare system is pretty decent. That was a really small, shitty hospital in the small town I live in. But yeah, in Toronto and stuff, if I went to Ottawa, which is a major city, like, it's better. But yeah, these small town hospitals are just fucking terrible.
Do you know what's so fucked up is that Americans know nothing about Canada except for Vancouver, Montreal, Toronto, and in my case, Windsor. And you guys know everything about what goes on in the United States.
Yeah.
It's so weird. It's so weird. It's like, you're like Alaska too.
Yeah.
That's how we look at Canada, is it's Alaska too.
Yeah, I think most Canadians are actually genuinely more interested in U.S. politics, and it's probably because it's more unhinged. Like, it's just more entertaining in general.
Hell yeah, it is. We're crazy, dude. We are crazy down here.
Bro, have you heard of Toronto's crack smoking mayor?
No.
We had a mayor in Toronto named Rob Ford, and he was smoking crack. He was a crack addict.
Well, good for him. I bet he got a lot done.
Yeah, well, he was actually pretty okay, but he ended up having to resign because he smoked crack. Then he ended up getting cancer a few months later and died.
What I love is that it's not okay to smoke crack, but if you take modafinil and Adderall, it's A-okay.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of dude, literally everything was okay except steroids.
Yeah, everything. It's like you're the devil worshiper if you use steroids. But girls can use birth control pills, even though those are steroids.
Oh, yeah, and kids can transition, and you can, like, smoke all the cigarettes you want, drink all the alcohol you want. But, yeah, steroids. Ban the drug that makes you stronger.
Best one ever is if you go to AA, they chain smoke cigarettes and drink coffee. But if you use steroids, you're a drug addict.
Do they really do that? They like judge people for in AA meetings?
They have a cup of coffee in one hand and a cigarette in the other, and they'll drink and smoke like this, double fisted, and then they'll say people who do steroids aren't welcome because you're a drug addict.
I don't think they understand what drugs are.
It's the most judgmental asshole people you'll ever meet. Is because I got 25 years sober, but they wouldn't consider it sober because I use steroids. It's like, let me ask you something. Didn't you just say that you have a psychiatrist? And they'll be like, yeah. And like, didn't you just say that your psychiatrist has you on Prozac? They're like, that's different. He's a doctor. It's like, well, I'm a doctor and I give myself steroids. So what's the difference? And they're like, you can't do that. It's like, I just did do that. It's like, I did that yesterday. I did that today.
Well, you know what it is? I think the reason drugs like steroids are so demonized is because it makes you physically better. I think we have like a weird fucking society where for some reason we like idolize athletes and shit. but for some reason, like there's always this like pull towards mediocrity, where if you actually try to train, eat well, take care of yourself, and maybe you do want to take steroids for performance enhancement, like there's always some like weird pull towards mediocrity where it's like, why don't you do something fun instead of exercise? Why don't you go out drinking with us? Like, yeah, so I think that's probably a big factor for why like steroids are banned and there's like this weird stigma around them.
Your excellence highlights their incompetence.
Yeah.
So they must destroy you in order for them to feel valid.
Yeah.
Any bright light has to be snuffed out so the dim lights can seem bright. I actually did a video that you'll like. It's how to build a cult. It dropped last night. Check it out. You'll think it's probably it's gonna be on the nose with a lot of stuff, but a lot of the other stuff you're gonna think's funny.
I was actually literally thinking of creating my own religion. I was gonna call it like strength cult. So it's kind of like sort of the idea behind like Conan and the God of Crom. I think there's a fundamental issue with all of these Abrahamic religions at the very least, but there's some other things like Hinduism and shit that have sort of a similar idea. There's this delusion that everyone has that there's this like big, strong man in the sky who tells you what to do, what right or wrong is, how you're supposed to live. And I think that just promotes weakness, because if you have a lot of internal strength, like strength of mind, and like you recognize your own like physical strength, you're going to see the truth. There's no meaning in anything. I'm a nihilist. Like, without any mind, no people here, there would be no meaning to any of the rocks, like, you know, banging into each other in space, right? So your mind projects meaning onto other things. Your mind, you know, puts value on other things. Like, your mind generates like what is right, what is wrong. And rather than like, you know, having people recognize that strength they have and that power that they wield of their mind, you can put these values on things. You can decide what's right or wrong or what is meaningful or meaningless. You have to give all that up to this like non-existent fucking wizard in the sky, and you have to live in this like very particular way in this particular society where everybody tells you what to do, how to think, how to act, who you can and can't have sex with, when, and what hole. So the basic idea of it is you're basically acting as God with your mind, and you're the one who determines meaning, value, and you're the one who fucking decides that. And if you want the world to be a certain way, you don't want people to like rape kids or kill animals or like any things that you may or may not find horrible. The only way to affect that change is to project strength. So the idea of prayer is the most weak, basic bitch fucking thing you can do, because it is the definition of inaction. You are doing nothing but appealing to a God that does not care about you, and he could not possibly care about you because he doesn't exist. But even if he did exist, like let's say Jesus was in the sky, look at all the kids dying of cancer or getting run over by fucking cars or getting blown up in some stupid pointless war. Like, clearly this God doesn't fucking care about you. And you're literally just thinking, please save me. Please change the world around me, when you're doing nothing. It's inaction. So like the fundamental idea of the religion I'm thinking of forming is just give strength to people who like, it's not even giving them strength. It's just like having them recognize, not be gaslit anymore by society. You have the power and you have the strength, and you have to impose that strength on society, and rather just commit to this loser, just weak, pathetic inaction of prayer. No, get up and fucking do something.
So I have three. Okay, one, I did a video, confidence versus arrogance. You will love that. I also did another one.
I've seen that
anxiety. Okay, anxiety versus depression. That also ties in with what you're saying. This cult one is the culmination of those other two. And the funny thing is what you said was so funny, because Lucifer thought the same thing.
Yeah.
Icarus thought the same thing.
Yeah.
Jesus thought the same thing. Galileo thought the same thing. Every time you try to stop authority from being a sanctimonious dick, you get burned.
Yeah.
And people are like, he did not just lump Satan in with, you're right, I didn't lump Satan in, I said Lucifer. Lucifer, Icarus, Prometheus, Jesus, it's the same basic character told centuries apart, of the guy who's like, why the fuck are we listening to this one? I can think for myself. Here, bitch, have an apple. Like, you know, like, I want to bring you up from being some dumb animal and make you as smart as the rest of us. It's like Prometheus takes the lightning and gives it to mankind so they can build science. So he gets chained to the Hephaestus's mountain, Mount Vulcan, so he can have his liver and eye plucked up by a vulture for eternity. That the idea that authority will not let you try to think for yourself or lead people out of ignorance, and that they call us rebels when we're actually the shepherds.
Yeah. But with that said, go vegan. Yeah, I mean, like, look, I don't think we're in disagreement on the whole veganism topic.
I love animals. I love animals. I love winning too, though. So if I can win and still love animals, I'm there.
Well, look at it this way. Like, I saw one of your videos, like, I think you touched on this in your, like, arrogance versus confidence video, and you were talking about, like, this idea of, like, I'm gonna win, and, like, making sure you have that affirmation in your head, I'm gonna win. You can have that same mindset, just with, I'm gonna win as a fucking vegan, and prove to everybody. Like, I think, like, I think if you actually adhered to that mindset, you would naturally sort of create situations around yourself that would ensure victory as a vegan.
What's the problem is my mind's been poisoned. My mind's been poisoned. I think if I eat vegan, I'm going to lose. So I have to first rewrite my internal monologue. And then once I can rewrite my internal monologue with some evidence and some outcome data and some personal experience, that confidence will grow and grow and grow. But since I'm already in prep, it's a huge gamble. And everyone and my team is counting on me to lead us to victory. So for me to change the fucking game, take the game book and throw it out the window right when the season's starting, I'm fucking over my whole team. So it's like part of me.
So when's your next show?
September 20th.
Okay, so that's like 4 or 5 months?
20, yeah, it's 20 weeks. Like prep just started and prep's going great. So
ja, das kann ja nicht die Rechtfertigung sein. Ich will gewinnen. Soll das die Rechtfertigung sein? Ja. Darauf kann man ja pressen, huh?
For me to throw a huge wrench in, like changing the primary protein source, is it's going to be a nightmare because I just got my sleep in order with Seroquel, as you mentioned. I finally resorted to using psychotropic drugs.
You're actually using Seroquel?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. You should look into some of the research on that. That actually is very fucking dangerous. That actually causes brain damage. You do not want to be on that long term.
It's not for long term. It was just to reset my sleep cycle.
Okay.
So I can match up. So I was waking up. I was going to bed at 7 a.m.
That shit fucks me up. Like hardcore.
Right now I'm going to bed at 3 a.m. Pretty soon I'll be going to bed at 1 a.m. And then I'm going to switch to trazodone. So the point is I'm in the process of transitioning it. And
Alter, wie die für jede Kleinigkeit irgendeine Droge brauchen, ey. Holy shit.
A lot of people are like, you need a psychiatrist. I was like, motherfuckers, most psychiatrists might know psychiatry, but they're not going to know anabolic pharmacology and endocrinology and gastroenterology.
Ich würde zu gern mal seinen Medikamentenschrank sehen. Leg mal jedes Medikament auf den Tisch, was du zu Hause hast. Alter, wäre das ein voller Tisch. Junge, Junge, Junge.
At the same time, and it takes a village to make one of us win. We're like RoboCop. If they gave me that Gerber baby powder in a tube and that's all I needed to shoot bad guys and fight for OCP, I would do it. I don't give a shit what I'm eating as long as it's what powers this machine. And if I can have no more blood on my hands, I've killed more chickens than the Aztecs killed sacrifices. I'm done. I don't want any more blood on my hands. So I have to find a way around it. And I appreciate your help.
Well, I like again, just like in your video, you absolutely fucking can. And I mean, I have. And like, look, I'm not a professional bodybuilder or anything, not an IFBB pro. I think I do have the genetics. Like, if I wanted to go on gear and really push hard for that, I probably could at least be in the contention of getting an IFBB pro card. But I
can make you classic physique, that's for sure. You've got everything it takes to do classic.
Yeah, like, I definitely could, and I mean, like, I can do all this as a vegan. My cat's vegan. If my cat can be vegan, you can...
Oh, das wird ihm nicht gefallen. Seine Katze ist vegan. Oh oh. Da holen die Omnis immer ihr Dreizack raus.
Certainly be vegan too, so... Like,
das kannst du einem Omni nicht sagen. Der wird dir vorwerfen, dass du Tierquälerei betreibst. Sagt der Omni.
Like, I mean, there's so many examples of people you know, getting big and strong and also lean and like doing this. So it's not like it's I know there's definitely some figuring out to do. Like, you know, there's obviously going to be dietary adjustments and shit. But like thinking in the long term, like say over the next year after prep.
Ja, offensichtlich ist dem Typ sein Körper wichtiger als, oder seine Muskeln wichtiger als die Tierleben.
You could absolutely transition and figure
there's
it out.
no question in my mind that once this contest season's over, I was going to definitely do it. After our conversation, I already made up my mind. I'm going to document transitioning to vegan as an off-season approach, but I haven't given up on at least minimizing the amount of animal casualty on prep and the transitioning into it. Because if all I need is 200 grams of protein a day, that's 800 fucking calories. That gives me an extra 2,000 calories worth of carbs. I could live off of lentils and I'd have to throw in some leucine from some other sources. But still, I mean, I can make this happen.
Kauf dir Leucinpulver einfach.
I know I can. The question is, how much damage am I going to do to do it? And is this the worst time to do it? Because everything's rocking and rolling. That usually whenever I go into a prep, it's with like a blown out ankle, a missing arm, like getting in the middle of a breakup, I'm getting sued, and I just do it anyway. Right now, there is nothing wrong in my life. Everything's perfect. I don't want to just fuck it by like, here, let's throw a complete monkey wrench in the mix and change the protein source.
Yeah.
But I'm going to talk to my team about it and see what they think. And I make these big decisions with the committee because it affects everyone on the team.
Yeah, I mean, like, one meal where you just try tofu isn't going to kill you.
Right.
So, like, just try a piece of tofu and then see, like,
right.
You know, if you don't have, like, explosive diarrhea and start vomiting and blood coming out of your eyes, like, you know, then, yeah, and then maybe you could just have another meal of tofu and, like, replace, like, whatever chicken or whatever you're having.
Right, and change my protein powder from being beef to a pea rice
blend. I would lean towards soy. Usually the protein sources I have are like a soy pea blend. Sometimes they have a bit of rice in them. It seems like the soy one.
Ja, Sojaprotein gefällt mir am besten. Danach kommt Erbsenprotein. Und am schlechtesten ist Reisprotein, glaube ich. Ich hatte auch mal Hanfprotein, das war auch nicht so toll. Weil, ja, es schmeckt einfach übel komisch.
Mix is better and it's easier to flavor. Pea has like a weird kind of taste to it. And again, anecdotally, I've just noticed like less people complain about soy-based proteins versus pea.
About 11 years ago, I was basically designed a pea protein for LG Sciences.
Beim Reisprotein hatte ich auch immer solche Reste, so wie Sand. Das habe ich bei Reisprotein immer. Bei Sojaprotein, das ich jetzt aktuell habe, zum Beispiel gar nicht. Also überhaupt gar nicht. Sowas existiert gar nicht. Bei Erbsenprotein weiß ich nicht mehr, aber ich glaube auch nicht. Ich glaube, ich hatte das nur bei Reisprotein.
And the problem wasn't that it didn't taste good and it didn't work. It was awesome. It's that we couldn't get a consistent sourcing because sometimes it was from France and sometimes it was from somewhere else. So the flavor profile changed so much, customers didn't like it.
Chances are it's different now because the amount of like pea proteins used in mock meats and stuff.
And hemp is another issue because some states won't let me manufacture hemp.
Oh,
won't
yeah,
let me
that's
distribute
fucking
hemp
stupid.
but like I've actually had a hemp blend plan. So there is Valhalla Labs, my supplement company. We do have on the docket a hemp pea rice-based protein option, and we have a beef protein option, so that we've got both for both populations of people. I haven't pulled the trigger on either of them yet because you got to basically drop 30 to 50 grand in order to get the stuff made.
Right.
So I wanted to try them out and like them first. And that's the thing too, is that it's so secularized. You can't have one without the other. Even if I don't endorse meat eating, if I come out with a vegan line and no meat line, then that's basically going to offend my base pretty extensively. And so I'm not saying I won't do that, but that's a big business decision that involves my partner too.
Yeah, I'm definitely considerate to, you know, that sort of issue. But from my perspective, like I see so veganism by definition is the idea that animal rights is a logical extension of human rights. So the way we would treat animals is the same way we would treat people. I don't see any significant moral distinction between a human being and an animal. Like some people
Okay.
say, well, they're less intelligent. Well, if you saw like a mentally disabled
No, no.
person,
If you read my comments, you would know for sure that the humans are not less intelligent than animals.
yeah, you mean more intelligent?
Yeah. The comments I get make me wonder if my dog is
Oh.
smarter than the people making this statement.
You know, like they
Sagt er, der ist sich nicht sicher, ob die Tiere dümmer sind als Menschen, wenn er seine Kommentare liest. Also die Omni-Brain-Kommentare offensichtlich. Ja.
might be able to figure out how to use an iPhone, and maybe your dog won't. But like the type of intelligence we care about, like just making rational decisions based on like the information you have, people are fucking
Ich habe in den letzten Tagen auch so viel Kritik wieder bekommen, weil einige Videos gut liefen. Ja, ich habe die alle zur Debatte herausgefordert. Alle sind weggerannt. Ich habe alle weggebannt. Ich habe immer dasselbe Spiel. Hat noch nie was gebracht, aber ich kann es auch nicht sein lassen. Ich bin da wirklich... Ich kann das einfach nicht. Ich kann das nicht einfach stehen lassen. Ich muss das kommentieren und ja. Es ist immer das gleiche Ende. Absolut immer.
unhinged, crazy retards.
Yes.
I would not expect like my cat to do some of the stupid fucking shit people do, because like the type of intelligence that's required to make some of these decisions, I don't think my cat is that stupid. So yeah.
The best example is in Dungeons and Dragons. Human-based intelligence is an 8. Human-based wisdom is an 8. But a wolf might have a 1 to a 5 intelligence and a 13 wisdom, because the wolf's going to make better decisions.
Yeah.
It may not understand complex patterns or ideas, but animals tend to make better choices than humans do.
It's probably because if they don't, they're dead. Whereas
Right.
we've become so successful in society that all the smart people can cover for the retards. You know, like, why do we have seatbelts? Well, it's because dumbasses don't know how to fucking drive, and then they run into a brick wall, and then those idiots survive and have kids, and then there's just more and more stupid people.
Well, it's because I think women select men for reasons other than intelligence. They don't sleep with the smartest men. They sleep with men who have other qualities that are much less important.
Definitely the case. That may be because they're not particularly smart either, and they're not really thinking about intelligence. I think intelligent women certainly do care about dating intelligent men, but most women aren't particularly intelligent, most men aren't particularly intelligent, and then, you know, the rodents breed out of control.
Yeah. Yes, I think that is a perfect point. So I do have to run to my next meal. This has been awesome. I'd love to do this again.
Yeah. Why don't you shout out like your social media and stuff for people who are interested?
All right. This is super easy. My name, Todd Lee MD, on every platform. X, Instagram's my main platform, Spotify, Patreon, obviously YouTube, although my YouTube channel is banned. So my new YouTube channel is called Dr. Todd Lee's Anabolic University. But if you Google Todd Lee and any subject, I'm the Todd Lee that comes up on Google or anything else. So just my name, you can find me. And just like Vegan Gains, you're the only Vegan Gains, the world famous Vegan Gains.
All right, well, thanks for coming on. We should do this again. Maybe we can have a thing on your channel where you invite me on.
Oh, I'd love to have you on. Yeah, absolutely. And hopefully we'll be able to go through and come up with like a good case presentation showing like side by side, this is the profile of beef, this is the profile of pea, this is the profile of soy. You can see that the soy on paper is more anabolic. And that way we can prove it beyond a shadow of a doubt. And if what we can't do in real time, my editor.
Ja, und wenn es nicht nicht das Anabolischste ist, das Sojaprotein, was ist damit? Junge, nur weil du dann Beef-Protein auf Platz 1 heißt, da heißt es nicht, dass man das essen darf. Was ist, wenn Babyprotein auf 1 ist? Wenn das anaboler ist als Beef-Protein? Darf man dann Babyfarmen aufmachen? Come on, man.
Editor can do behind the scenes. I'm actually going to jump on the phone with them immediately after I get off this and start mapping out a plan on how we can have a semi-campaign.
Da kommst du am besten mit Gesetz, um in den nächsten Fehlschuss reinzustolpern.
That is vegan focused without it being biased, because as soon as I've got an agenda, people aren't going to listen to me. But if I posed a question, vegan or carnivore, which is more anabolic, and I present it objectively, then it'll actually more people be open-minded. No one likes being sold something.
And I mean, I look at this from a holistic perspective. Vegan diets do seem to have better health outcomes associated with them. There are some unique benefits to plants that, you know, animal products don't have. You avoid some bad things, you get some good things. And on top of that, like, we all care about ethics too, to some degree. Like, nobody wants to see animals get tortured, killed, factory farmed. So
thank you for saying that, because a lot of people, they don't seem to understand that the far right people are still people too.
yeah.
Like, nobody wants to see homeless people suffer.
Yeah.
No one wants to see people starve. Like, nobody's like that. It's just the issue
Doch, aus dem Political Space welche. Da kenne ich welche und die sind sogar Veganer.
of, okay, you got some ideas, great. How do we pay for them? Oh, you don't know how to pay.
Die sagen ganz öffentlich, dass sie die von der anderen Seite unter der Brücke sehen wollen. Also, und die versuchen unter die Brücke zu kriegen. So, die üblichen Verdächtigen halt, ne, wie immer. Jeder kennt sie. Absoluten Teufel auf diesem Planeten.
Pay for them. Come back when you know how to pay for them. So it's like, oh, we can have an animal cruelty-free world. Awesome. How do we do that? If there isn't a plan, then it's like, well, I guess we're going to have to continue with what we're doing until we have a plan. And you sound like the man with the plan, and I want to hear all about the plan.
I do have a plan, and it involves a fucking lot of tofu.
A lot of tofu. All right, cool. I like anime anyway, so
Hell
it
yeah.
gives me, yeah. All right, buddy.
We got to
It's been a
talk about
pleasure, man.
Berserk and shit sometime too.
Okay, guts. Did you listen to Slaughter to Prevail?
No, haven't heard of them.
Okay, so Slaughter to Prevail is a Guts, is a Berserker themed deathcore band, and another one is Brand of Sacrifice.
I've heard of them.
Which I know you recognize.
Yeah,
Brand
I
of
know them.
Sacrifice. I think you will like them.
Yeah,
Check out
I know
Demon
Brand of
King.
Sacrifice. Yeah, they're good.
Okay, yeah, that's so we got music in common too. So we both made friends today. It's awesome, man. I can't wait to talk to you again.
All right, man. See ya. Thanks.
Ja, bei dem ist ja wenigstens einiges richtig im Kopf.
Right.
Also der ist viel, viel weiter als 99% der Omnis. Gibt auch alles zu, hat schlechtes Gewissen, versucht so wenig Tierprodukte wie möglich zu essen und so, aber hat den letzten wichtigsten Punkt nicht wirklich verstanden, obwohl er sagt, dass er es verstanden hat und Ethik und sowas. Aber ja. Und dann erzählt er was von Success. Ja. Komplett am Thema vorbei. Wie gesagt, NTT hätte da gut geholfen.
Thanks for the chat.
My pleasure. Bye-bye.
Alrighty. That was good. Let me see here.
Wir sind gleich durch. Oh, no. Noch nicht gleich, aber bald.
In case any of you wanted to ask any questions or send me some stupid shit, I'll have like a post-discussion schmiggle-schmaggle with you all.
Ist das echt beschleunigt? Krass.
Thoughts on Oblivion Remastered? It looks like, as far as Unreal Engine 5 remasters are concerned, it's a pretty good one. Performance isn't outstanding, but it's pretty good, especially if you don't use RT. They did make a number of changes and enhancements to the game that are good, like quality of life improvements, like improving the voice actors and stuff like that. So I'll probably play it eventually. Just not right now, because there's a few games that I want to get out of the way, like, Doom and shit. Like, way more than I expected to. So,
Ja, der Typ war auf jeden Fall, kann man sagen, viel besser als alle anderen, mit denen er bis jetzt gesprochen hat.
I might just take tonight off, eat a little bit more, and
Da ist ein wenig geistige Gesundheit vorhanden bei dem.
just chill, but, yeah, if I do come on, it'll be in a few hours. I can't make any guarantees. What do you mean, stream frozen? Thoughts on Burger King Impossible Whopper?
And speaking of alt-right people,
Let me take a look here.
Night, and my beautiful co-host tonight is none other than Brett Ehrlich. Brett, how are you?
I'm so glad I got my eyelashes done and that you noticed it and you called me beautiful. I'm doing all right. How are you?
Economic news, so let's just jump right into it. I can't wait to get your thoughts. The GDP contracted by 0.3%, the first time it shrank in 3 years. But immediately, Trump began to shift the blame, writing on Truth Social, "This is Biden's stock market, not Trump's."
I've seen that. Well, thanks for the donation, Dodo. Like an donate $2 hairline. My hairline has literally not changed since I was a child. My hairline is doing just fine. So I got a nice head of hair, and I've never heard any complaints. Thanks for the donation, though, looking Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
Das Ding ist, also
Besser,
ich gebe
wenn
der
das
militanten
gekommen ist auf
Veganerin ja
Englisch.
wirklich in 100% ihrer Punkte recht. Ja, also es ist ja wirklich einfach so, mit allem, was sie sagt, hat sie zu 100% recht. Ja, wie wir mit den Tieren umgehen, geht gar nicht. Die leiden, Kühe werden vergenusswurzelt, damit wir Milch haben. Die leiden, werden umgebracht und so weiter. Und ich sag mal, die werden ja auch gehalten wie ein Stück Scheiße, ist ja nun mal einfach so. Und das geht an sich natürlich gar nicht fit. Absolut, Digga. Zu 100% alles, was die Militante sagt im Thema, hat sie komplett recht. Es gibt keinen Grund, Fleisch zu essen. Das Ding...
Es gibt keinen Grund, Fleisch zu essen, dann isst er Fleisch. Vielen Dank für den super Einspieler.
Naja, das könnte man auch abspielen.
Yo, 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 was geht? Ohne Kati, keine Party. So sieht's aus.
Jo, Zuckerinsel, was geht heute ab, ey? Was geht ab?
Man kann auch das abspielen.
Was geht mit den ganzen Einspielern? Holy shit, vielen Dank für den ganzen mega monster krassen Support. Man, was geht? Vielen, vielen Dank, Mann. Vielen, vielen Dank, mein Freund. Du bist der krasseste Veganer auf dem Server, sowieso. Die ganze Arbeit, die du da in den Void steckst, viel zu krass, Mann. Du meinst den Tag oder was? Ja, wir reagieren heute auf dieses Video, auf das zweistündige, weil wir haben nichts anderes zum Reagieren. Ich meine, wir haben nichts anderes, von daher. Soweit ich weiß, gibt es von der Militanten auch nichts Neues. Wir haben einfach nichts mehr. Da wird doch nichts, also alles, was reingesendet wurde in den Raum, habe ich schon reagiert, also deswegen gucken wir das hier. Aber ich fand super, das war ein super Stream. Interessant, es war die ganze Zeit interessant.
Yeah, Dr. Todd Lee is a pretty decent dude.
Good discussion. I disagree with Todd that nobody is a genuinely bad person and that everyone is open to change. Look at the carnivores who brag about animal torture.
I don't think that was his actual position.
Ja, habe ich auch nicht gehört, die Position.
He's certainly open-minded and open to change, but I don't think he said, like, most people or everyone is open-minded. Thanks for the donation, though, Masashi Blade. Yeah, but Todd Lee is a pretty decent dude. I was actually surprised how open-minded and actually how much he cared about animals. So yeah, I like him. He's a good dude. We're into a lot of the same shit too, like music, video games, crap like that. I'm gonna tofu pill him.
Der wird irgendwann die Steroid-Beratung von Vegan Gains machen, auf jeden Fall.
And Trump is still dumb enough to blame Biden for everything even after everything he's done unbelievable.
Well, Trump doesn't actually believe that. He's literally just making up a bullshit excuse. He is knowingly and willingly lying. Thanks for the donation, though, Dodo. Thoughts on Burger King Impossible Whopper? I've had the Impossible Burger. I like it. I've never gone to Burger King and had the Impossible Whopper, but it's literally the same thing. So it's cool that Burger King has a plant-based option. Like, I'm obviously not going to complain. I have trained BJJ before. I never progressed past a white belt. I was only doing it for about 3 months. And then I moved to Belgium, and then when I was in Belgium, I just got back into weight training, and then since then I've just been focused on weight training, haven't gotten back into jiu-jitsu. I'm planning on going back into martial arts. I don't know if I'm going to do jiu-jitsu specifically, but I'm looking into Sambo. I'd rather do Sambo. The only issue is the only Sambo place is a bit of a drive away. It's like about an hour away, whereas the closest jiu-jitsu place I think is like 20 minutes. Retard, donate $2. Are you going to start a new stream? If I do stream again tonight, it's going to be a new stream. I'm not going to just keep streaming. I was just going to answer some questions or whatever for a few minutes. Thanks for the donation, retard.
Toddley is more Orient-minded than most people, unfortunately.
He is. He certainly is. Thanks for the donation, Dodo. Ben donated $2. Open Discord. I need to talk to you. Is there any particular reason? I'm not showing you on screen. You're just going to try to flash a penis, aren't you? I'll put the link in chat, but I'm not showing my screen. You're just going to flash a dick or something or troll me, I'm sure. Thanks for the donation, Ben.
Ja, das machen Omnis. Die ruinieren alles.
No, no one's following my religion yet because I haven't officially created it. I am planning on creating a unholy doctrine. Hello?
Yeah, what's up, Vegan Gains? Yeah, so you were talking about taking growth hormone. You should look into MK677. It's much better.
No,
Cheaper
MK677's fucking stupid.
How so?
Well, it's only a growth hormone secretagogue, so you're not going to get as much growth hormone as you would just taking actual growth hormone because it's only making your body produce a little bit more, and it also has side effects. So, yeah, no, I'm not taking MK677.
Well, I'm saying overall, like, it's cheaper. You reduce you minimize the possibility of side effects because real GH, the side effects are like way worse. They do. The only
MK677 has its own set of side effects, and it also tends to massively stimulate appetite. So why would and on top of that, a lot of it's faked, and it might actually just be oral steroids. Like it's stupid. I'm not going to take MK677. It's way easier for me to find real GH compared to MK677.
All right, well that's your choice, but you can take it at night and then just sleep through the hunger. That's what I do. Yeah, your choice. Also, I have a question. Do you think MK is natty?
No.
You think creatine is natty?
Yeah.
Okay, can you name a trait that would make creatine natty but not MK?
Yes, creatine is not a growth hormone secretagogue.
But yeah, why would that make it natty? And why would a growth hormone secretagogue be unnatty?
Yes, because it doesn't affect hormones, whether it be peptide-based or sterol-based.
Creatine does affect hormones. What do you mean?
It doesn't.
Yes, it does.
No, it does not.
That's why we could look this up.
It does not.
Everything you do affects your hormones.
Okay, so is sleep a steroid? Are you not natty because sleep increases testosterone? I don't know what you mean by that.
If the trait, well, that's what I'm saying, right? If the trait is that it affects your hormones, well, everything.
Yeah, so we're talking about something that modulates hormone production or bypasses hormone production because it's just an endogenous source of hormones. So,
like super physiologically. So, like, if it boosts growth hormone levels to like beyond what's like naturally possible. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, depending on the dose, I think you can expect like a 30% or more increase in growth hormone from MK677.
Oh, it's way more. It's like 70 or something.
Yeah, well, again, depending on the dose. I think lower doses it's about 30. Higher doses, it's going to be close to 70.
So yeah, what's the trait exactly? Is it like...
So it's not a hormone secretagogue, nor is it a hormone itself.
What? Like, how is that the trait, though? You're just describing what...
You're the one asking me what the trait is, so I can define the trait as anything. I could define the trait as it comes in pill form.
Okay, well, test isn't a growth hormone secretagogue, so is test natty? Like, what?
I said whether it be a growth hormone secretagogue, or sorry, whether it be a hormone secretagogue or a hormone itself. That was the trait.
Yeah, but everything affects your hormones.
That
Everything
doesn't
can be
make them hormone secretagogues nor hormones themselves.
Yes, it can. Okay, well, let's look up the definition of a secretagogue then. So a substance that causes another substance to be secreted. So yeah, everything, like your sleep, you can name a bunch of things. They would all secrete certain hormones.
Sleep does not secrete hormones.
Well, that was just an example.
Okay.
You can give a condescending laugh all you want. That doesn't really, yeah.
All right, well, this was a good conversation. Thanks for stopping by and making things interesting.
Wait, so you're not gonna name the trait?
I did, but take care, dude. Yeah, I know he's a troll, but that was funny.
What are Dr. Toddley's views on Israel?
I have no idea. If I had to assume, probably pro-Israel, but I really have no idea. I'd have to ask him. Thanks for the donation, retard.
Yes, no flashing decor showing porn again on stream. We will not be deleting this debate.
Yeah, that's right. Definitely don't want to jeopardize that. But I'm going to sign off now. Hope you guys enjoyed that debate/discussion. It was more of a discussion than a debate. We mostly just agreed on everything. So I'll leave this public so everyone can watch it. It's not going to be members only. No guarantee if I'm going to stream later tonight. I'm very, very exhausted from dieting, and I think I might need a night off and just some extra food. I lost way more weight this week than I had planned, and I'm very run down. Might be better for me to just take a break. But hope you all had fun. Big thanks to everybody who donated on Streamlabs, whether I see you tonight or not. Hope you all have a nice night, and take care. Oh, there's some more.
I'm going to have to stop sleeping and eating healthy. I don't want an unfair advantage.
Yes, healthy lifestyle is performance enhancement. So, sorry you're not natty because you sleep and exercise and eat well. Thanks for the donation, Masashi Blade. Ben donated $2, you lost the debate, bud. Well, regardless, I think we came to a concession that I'm happy with. Thanks for the donation, Ben. Alright, thanks again, everybody. Again, I likely won't see you all tonight. I'm probably going to take the rest of the night off, but we'll see. I'll see you all tomorrow, either way, regardless. So, take care.
Ja, wir sind endlich durch. Oh, holy shit. Ist überhaupt noch jemand da? Ja, war aber ein gutes Gespräch. Ja, okay, das am Ende, das war jetzt völlig unnötig, darauf noch zu reagieren. Ja, das Gespräch mit dem Typ, das war gut. Interessant. Ich kenne natürlich die ganzen Bezeichnungen und Stoffe und sowas, von denen die reden. Von daher, ich habe das soweit alles verstanden. Ja, scheint wohl was von Logik zu halten, der Typ. Gute Sache. Wahrscheinlich lehnt er deswegen so in Richtung Veganismus.